I think you all know how I feel about Frieza, and when a Frieza episode happens, you know for a fact most likely I'm going to really enjoy the episode, and that was the case. Now, as I stated, I highly doubted that, Frieza would work with Frost. I feel like it was like an entire, play if any was going to turn on Frost. That's what I stated in last week's episode review, and I even said that before when we found out that we're going to have, a Frieza-focused episode. I was like, no, it's too soon. It's too soon for Frieza to betray everyone in the tournament. Because if he's going to betray anyone, it's going to be in the final 2 people standing. For instance, when there's, only 2 or 3 people left, that's when he'll walk in and say, I'm betraying the entire team. That's when I see that happening. So, I felt like it was just way too early for Frieza to pull a move like that, especially working with Frost. I just doubted that he would be working with Frost and actually take out one of his own, because he knows for a fact at the end of the day, regardless of how he feels about Gohan, Goku, Vegeta, whatever, we know for a fact, and Frieza knows for a fact, because he's not stupid, he knows that Gohan is very strong. He knows that Goku is very strong. He knows that Vegeta is very strong. He won't admit that, but at the end of the day, he knows deep down inside of him that they're much better to have on his team than someone else that he has no idea how strong they are, or at the very least, Frost. He knew for a fact Frost wasn't probably capable of transforming into golden form, and he knew that Frost could possibly bulk up into 100% maximum like Frieza did in the Namek Saga. So just when you look at all these things, Frieza was obviously very aware if he wanted someone to help him out till at least the very end, it was obvious he needs to stick with his team. So I doubted, since how Frieza is so smart, he would work with Frost and he would take out Gohan. And so, like I thought, Frieza turned against Frost and took him out of the competition, which is very poetic and fitting in a way, because we remember what Frost did. We all remember. Frost took out Krillin, knocked him off the ring and all that. It was really dirty, but it was Krillin's fault. It was legit Krillin's fault because he let his guard down. Frost came up, knocked him off. It was scummy, but it was Krillin's fault for it. And I find it very poetic, and it's funny that Frost got knocked off because he dropped his guard, very similar to how Krillin, he dropped his guard. And Frost got knocked out like it was nothing. Frieza just walks up to him, and then he's like, can you bulk up and all that? He bulks up, and Frieza tells him, oh yeah, remember, there's a stamina problem with this form. You need to be very aware of that. If you use this form, there's a stamina problem. And then he's like, oh, thank you very much. And then Frieza just knocks him off like that, like it's nothing. I just couldn't help but laugh, because, number one, you don't trust Frieza. That is the number one rule. You do not trust Frieza. And Frost should have known not to trust Frieza as well. I mean, obviously Frost is nowhere near Frieza's level in terms of strength, but you would figure that since the man is cunning, and he was able to hide his dark and evil personality for so long until it was finally revealed in, the tournament, the first tournament we got in Dragon Ball Super, you'd think he'd be very cunning to where he would have found out that Frieza, since he's in a similar, state as he is, he's evil, that he would not have trusted him at all. And I believe if the power scaling was a little bit different between these two characters, I believe if Frieza was the weaker person and Frost was the stronger person, I believe Frost would have done that to Frieza. I believe Frost would have knocked Frieza out like it's nothing, but the only thing I could see why Frost dropped his guard so much was because he realized Frieza was just so much stronger than him, and so he was biding his time, and he just couldn't take him out right now. That's the only thing I could assume why Frost dropped his guard like that. But even still, though, it's funny that he got wrecked because of the exact same thing he did to Krillin. Now, when he did get knocked out, this is what made it even better. When he got knocked out, he was really crusty. He's like, okay, you tricked me. You tricked me, Frieza. And then he starts to point his blast like a death beam and all that. And all of a sudden, you have it to where, the king of all comes in, is like, nope, you can't do that, you will not attack people inside the ring from the outside, and he just gets erased. Frost got erased. So you could say in a way that, Universe 6, it got defrosted. Okay, okay, please edit that out, Chibi. That was bad. That was really bad pun. I need to go lie down after this video. Anyways, besides puns aside, okay, when Frost got wrecked, all I could help was smile. Like, I was just smiling. It's like, Frost deserved this so much, because in terms of just character and all that, I didn't really care much about Frost. I always liked Frost at the beginning, when he was kind of like a replacement for Frieza, and now that Frieza's back in this series, Frost is very irrelevant. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he's really irrelevant. He's like a copy of Frieza, except much weaker, and so he's not really relevant to the series, and if Toei wants to keep Frieza really relevant, they need to obviously remove him from the series. So, yeah. Now, there is one good thing they could do with Frost's character, okay? This is something that's potential for the future. This is just theory crafting. Let's say everybody's gonna get wished back, okay? Let's say, it's bound to happen, okay? Anyone that dies in this term are universes that are getting erased, obviously they're gonna come back somehow. And if not that, universes are gonna be conjoined into one. That's a possibility for the series. And so most likely, Frost might come back eventually. The main question is, will he be relevant ever again? That is to be seen. However, one of the big things I want to, kind of throw out there is that if Frost does come back, okay? And let's say Frieza doesn't get defeated, like, in this tournament, okay? Like, he doesn't get erased or killed off or whatever, and he manages to survive after this arc, and, he gets to live again, and then we finally have that rematch with Goku and Frieza in the future. Once to say if Frost doesn't come back, he might not come back for, like, some vengeance against Frieza, and he might be similar to how Frieza is with Goku. Like, okay, example. Frieza pushed himself, he trained hard to be able to fight Goku, and that's how he achieved his whole, golden form. What if Frost, he trained to try to beat Frieza, and it was kind of like this big chain, like this train right now going on, this, like, revenge train. That would be really cool if Frost came back and he got, stronger and all that just to defeat Frieza. I find that pretty cool. That would be really cool if that happened. Anyways, though, let's talk about the actual fight, the first fight of this episode, which is, Jimez? I think that's how you say his name. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, so if I am, I know you guys will correct me in the comments. But, I mean, we have, the Yardrat in this episode that is fighting Gohan. And I've been looking forward to seeing this character actually having a little bit more focus in this, because he's a Yardrat, and he's a race that we're all familiar with, thanks to, after the Namek saga, when Trunks was first introduced, and when Goku finally came back, we found out he learned instant transmission, and it was an incredible skill. It was a skill that made Goku be able to do certain things that was just not possible whatsoever, and it helped him out of many great situations. I mean, when he was fighting Cell, he used instant transmission to teleport with the Kamehameha, and he wiped out Cell's, like, upper half. Or if we look at, the fight with, Majin Buu, when they had to run, Goku, when he was running around, he had to use instant transmission when he was running from Buu. So instant transmission's always been something very vital in this series. It's been very relevant. It's always been there since Dragon Ball Z, since he learned it, and even in Dragon Ball Super, he's used it constantly. It's a very relevant ability. And so seeing a Yardrat in the series of Dragon Ball Super, obviously, it was fan service. I believe the reason why Jimez was introduced into the arc was because of fan service. So it's just end of discussion right there. It's probably fan service for the fans of Dragon Ball Z that really loved instant transmission, loved the ability and the Yardrats and all of that. I just believe Jimez was added there for fan service, and this episode does clarify that it was indeed true. He was probably added just for fan service. However, I'm kind of a little bit upset that he was wiped out so easily. I mean, it makes sense, Frieza going in there, whooping him and all that. It makes sense, Frieza's broken, and Frieza has experience fighting Goku, which uses instant transmission, and, Frieza was an emperor. He was a galactic emperor, so he obviously had to fight a Yardrat or two in his day while he was, doing his job. So when you look at these different things, Frieza having experience fighting instant transmission, it makes perfect sense. There is nothing against that whatsoever. And also Frieza's fighting style when he's just beating down the Yardrat in this episode, I'm like, it's just typical classic Frieza. And I was honestly enjoying it. I'm not even gonna lie, I was upset that the Yardrat got eliminated, but at the same time, I was really enjoying Frieza just offering the smackdown to the Yardrat, whooping him, and then knocking him out of the ring. There's just something about Frieza's character I really love. I know he's a villain, I know he's irredeemable, I know he's someone that is just absolutely heinous and disgusting, but I just love his character. He's just such a good villain. I know he's not the best villain of literature, but he's just so iconic. He's such an iconic villain and holds so much weight when it comes to shonen in general, or any villain in anime and manga, that I just love it when he's on screen. And seeing how he was just doing that smackdown and all that, whooping this Yardrat, and the Yardrat thought he was going to be able to spam his instant transmission around him, and Frieza just backhands him with his tail, I was just laughing. I'm like, this is just so good. Then when he got wiped out and all that, that is when it really got good. Is when Frost popped up, and then, you know, the entire scheme happened, and then Gohan started to fight Frieza. That was a good sequence. That is something I've been looking forward to for a while now. Seeing Gohan redeem himself against Frieza. Now, that technically did not happen because Gohan didn't necessarily win. In fact, Frieza won. But we gotta remember in the fight, like the little, you know, fake fight that was going on to fool Frost and get him eliminated, Frieza wasn't really trying. He wasn't serious at all. He didn't hold back a lot, but he wasn't really trying, and Gohan realized this, so he wasn't going all in either. Still, I think at the end of the day, most likely Frieza would have won against Gohan. Even though I love Gohan, he's one of my favorites, and I will admit, I am a Gohan fanboy. I will say that Frieza is definitely stronger than him. At this time, I do believe Frieza would just destroy Gohan. But things can change, definitely. I mean, Gohan's always proven that he can get power-ups and get stronger. But, I mean, for now, though, I believe Frieza's golden form is way beyond Gohan. And I believe if that fight would have been very serious, Gohan still probably would have lost. And Frieza would have won. And that's just end of discussion right there. But I was enjoying that. I was enjoying, you know, the Frieza segments throughout this episode when he was talking, fighting Gohan, and then making fun of Gohan, saying, oh, you're really a warrior race and all that, a Saiyan warrior race? And he's just making fun of him or calling him unintelligent. I'm just like, this is just classic Frieza. I just cannot wait to see what he's going to do with, like, Goku or Vegeta in the future when they start to fight together. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that fight when Frieza and Vegeta are backed up into a corner and they have to fight together to take someone down. That is what I want to see. I want to see these two work together and bring down an opponent because, I mean, since this was just so enjoyable seeing Gohan and all that and Frieza, I couldn't imagine how entertaining it would be to see, like, Vegeta and Frieza work together, or even better, Piccolo and Frieza, because, oh, Frieza has probably a lot of hatred for Piccolo and his entire species. Like, oh, Frieza probably, So I would love to see Frieza and Piccolo work together as well. That seems like that'd be very, very entertaining, especially with how smart Piccolo is and how smart Frieza is. That seems like that'd be a very enjoyable episode, but till then, we're probably not going to get a Frieza episode for a while because of the preview of next week's episode. Now, let me explain something. For the next episode, if I am correct, don't quote me, but I do believe there's going to be an hour-long episode of Dragon Ball Super coming up, and I believe it's going to be focusing on Goku versus Jiren. That's the entirety of the episode is going to be focused on it. I believe that's the next episode coming out. Now, like I said, I could be wrong about the dates, so forgive me if I am, but I mean, in the preview for next episode, it looks like we're finally going to be getting Goku versus Jiren happening. That's actually going to be a thing. It's going to be happening very soon, which I am looking forward to, especially in the preview. If you haven't seen it, go watch it yourself. In the preview, we see the Spirit Bomb, which I'm kind of curious about, because for the size of that Spirit Bomb, how did Goku get all that energy? That's what I'm very curious about. I mean, obviously he has to charge it, and nobody's going to really just let him sit there and charge it. I mean, not many probably know about the Spirit Bomb, but still, nobody's going to just sit there and let him charge it. But at the same time, there's no life in the other places of the universe because, like, everybody's sitting there fighting there in this, like, void universe. So, where's he going to get the energy to charge it? Unless the gods of destruction give their energy. Or Beerus gives his energy. That would be really cool if that happened. Like, imagine if Beerus, like, you know, gave some energy to Goku's Spirit Bomb. I wonder if that would be allowed. I wonder if Zeno would allow that. That's what I'm very curious about. Would he allow Beerus to do that? Anyways, though, I wonder how the Spirit Bomb is going to work. Because we know Goku's going to fire it. At least he's charging it. But how's he going to get the energy for it? Especially take down someone like Jiren. It doesn't make sense to me. So anyways, I want to leave it at that. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you have any questions or if you want to correct me, also leave a comment down below. If you enjoy these videos and you want to continue to support me, go into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. It allows me to continue to focus on YouTube. It truly does help. So I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.